Alright, how y'all doing? Third time trying to take this video, because it seems like every time I try to do this video, some shenanigans happen, and I have to stop midway through, and then it kind of messes up the whole vibe of the video. So, oh well. Basically, this is the slime video. Just a little bit of news note. There's no more car of the month for Gaslands UK, so I'm not going to be working on any of that. So I'm going to be working just on some slime vehicles. So we've talked about Rutherford, which is kind of the shooty sponsor. Miyazaki's the fancy maneuver sponsor. We've talked about Michigan, which is the techie sponsor, and Idris, which is the straight line speed nut jobs sponsor. So now we get to talk about the Smashy sponsor, even though they're a bit of a paradox when it comes to Smashy. As far as vehicles, because of the way they get their audience votes, you really want lightweight vehicles. The two most popular ones are bikes and buggies. So, I have this little Fiat, and we've got some 3D printed bikes, little handmade bases. They're basically they're two 20mm bases. So I cut, their bike bases are 20 by 30, so I just took two 20mm bases, cut one in half, so I had a 20 by 30. Very simple way to make a bike base for Gaslands. We got this little Fiat, and got of course these Volkswagen Beetles, and the Beetle is pretty much the ubiquitous slime vehicle. It's what's in their profile, with the spiky mohawk thing, and it works because slime is your anarchist, scrappers, and your wild teenagers, and a way to kind of think of them as like low budget sponsor. So they're more about taking a junker and souping it up, and then wrapping it in smashing stuff and going and having fun. They kind of remind me of like orcs in 40K, where it's like you don't care if you win or you lose, you're just trying to have a good time. And if you come in playing slime with that mentality, you are going to have a really fun time with this sponsor. So that's kind of the basics of what I kind of like. Again, they do want to smash things, so it's good to have some medium smashy vehicles and some heavy smashy vehicles. And that kind of like roller derby thing where you've got your fast person, your mid way person, and your bruiser at the back kind of deal. But so like I got this wrecker here. This is gonna be perfect for a wrecking ball and some rams, and just have it in the middle of the scrum of the death race, just knocking into things and having fun. And they got this car here that's beat up. I was originally going to use this for a Scarlet Ann because it's a convertible, but with the roof dented in, and this BMW is the mirrors kind of knocked off sideways and all of that, I think this is a better slime vehicle. Plus, we can have some crazy anarchist party people hanging out in the back, And then we've got this Chevelle, and it's got these backwards basher tampos on it. And I just think that leads us really well into having a rear-facing ram with this one. And so I think was actually be a good Verney vehicle too with the Tombstone, but for this one, like I said, I'm gonna do a rear facing ram and probably a front ram as well. And so yeah, we'll have some fun with that one. Don't have to, like I said, it's good because you don't have to change too much with the actual paint or anything with this one. Then we got Ice Cream Truck. Again, really good vehicle for slime because of the cost of rams, even though because of their class perk, they can actually take, you know, a lot of rams, but and being cheaper, they can kind of offset the cost that other medium weight vehicles would be eating. But it's still a good vehicle. Plus, there's a cheeky little trick with ice cream trucks and ambulances where you can kind of smash into them. Normally, ambulances, when they smash into things, they would get their hazards, and you don't want to get too many hazards. You do want some, but not too many. They're not like rusty. So you can smash into your own teammates and hit them with uppers and get them all the way up to high gear relatively quickly. You can also do performance cars, which I've done plenty of performance cars in slime, so that's one reason why I'm not doing one here. But it's also good because slipaway can combine with pinball to a degree, and I'll talk about the dirty tricks with when I get to that. And then of course, monster trucks are great because they're a 10-hull vehicle, so with a little bit of battle damage throughout the race or game, mode, monster trucks can start to generate audience votes pretty well, and be a heavyweight vehicle that is smashing and wrecking everybody. But then you can go and say the heck with lightweight, low hull vehicles and just go with the smash. And that's Splatterhouse here. I did a previous video talking about how I built this one, but I just wanted to take it off the shelf to show off again, let you see how a slime can work with any vehicle in the game. They can even work with gyrocopters to a degree, but then again, you really are just ignoring the smashy aspect of the whole faction. So that's basically how the look for vehicles. Like I said, I know bikes are a little bit hard for people to get a hold of, but if you find some bikes, or you can 3D print them, again, 20 by 30 is the base size, so that's the size you want to look for. There's Micro Machine bikes, and then there's like Hallmark size bikes. There's a good video out there about size of bikes for Gaslands and how they stack up to cars and stuff. But that's what you want to look for: bikes, buggies, beat up things. If you like, this is, like I said, again, a good slime vehicle because it's been smashed already. So if you find a car at a flea market with like half a fender missing, slime vehicle, that's how they work. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about the class perks real quick, and then we'll move into the actual perks, perk classes. Sponsor perks and class perks. I get those two confused a little bit. So basically, they got pinball, which is if this vehicle is involved in a collision during its movement step, in which the point of contact on both vehicles is along their side edges, and this vehicle declares a smash attack, then this vehicle may immediately resolve another movement step after the current movement step. So, basically, if you have a vehicle here, this can be your own vehicle, this can be an opponent's vehicle. Unfortunately, it does not work against terrain because it would be probably broken then. But the basic way is like if you take this buggy here and you're going to do a turn, and you know the slide template will take you into it. You just go ahead and take your slide, boom, and then you get to activate again and then go. Again, if both vehicles have side rams, they're not going to generate hazards. So this could evade, and then you could just bam, go off. It just matters if you smash. If it's your own teammate, there's ways to mitigate how much damage you're going to do. But again, another reason why they use lightweight vehicles, so they can have a lightweight vehicle ram into their big heavy friend and take off. Which is good, because if you wipe out, the field passes you by and you're coming back up, you can get the extra activation, you kind of get through the field better. The other great thing is, it's rare to pull it off, but you can, let's see, make sure I've got this kind of in a view here. In theory, you could pinball, activate, pinball, activate, pinball, and do that. So ad infinitum, as long as you had some vehicle to pinball off of. So that's again a pretty fun thing to do. At least in my opinion, it's fun. The other thing is, again, like I said, if you have a performance car, you can combine it with slip-away, because slip-away works with contact at the rear and the side. So if somebody hits you, your teammate can smash your performance. Like, this is your performance car, this is your ice cream truck. You can pinball, and then this guy can slip away, and then this guy can move. It's again, it's a neat ability, and plus it's not a forced movement, so you can choose whichever template you want to use. But the other thing is, of course, it can help you with getting into firing solutions easier. It can also get you to a gate easier. So it's a really fun perk. It's a little tricky to get to use, but when you do get to use it, especially when you get to activate multiple times, it's really fun. Then we have Spiked Fist. And again, this is where the paradox of slime really takes hold. Because the team counts Rams upgrades as requiring 0 build slots. Basically, most vehicles in Gaslands, a Ram takes a build slot. So if this was a Scarlet vehicle, if it takes that Ram, it's only got space for one more gun. Slime doesn't have that problem. Slime can load up a set of rockets and then just wrap this thing up in Rams and be a all vehicle threat build. And so you can have a truck with a 125mm cannon and Rams and be like, okay, I'm going to take you out close, I can take you out from far away, and you know, I don't care about getting too many hazards because might be getting an audience vote by firing my gun. So yeah, it's a pretty fun option to go through. But the problem is there's no discount on Rams. There's still a 4-can upgrade. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have most factions, if they have a 6-can buggy, you know, they have a 5-can Ram, that's 11 cans, perks. So 15, no more than 20 cans most buggies run. Depending on, like I said, unless you got like turrets and stuff, you can get a little more pricey, but for the most part, buggies are 15 to 20 cans once you've kited them out. Slime, if you wanted to wrap a buggy in Rams, that's 12 cans. So you look at the base cost of every vehicle and you say 12 cans added onto that if you wanted to actually take full advantage of Spiked Fist. You can kind of see where the cost is. It will eat into you. Again, in a way, if you're going to have a heavy vehicle, it's not so bad. A 37 can monster truck, is pricey, but it is very dangerous compared to a 30 can buggy. So, you can definitely get them up there in cost. So just again, something to think about. So again, I think if you're going to use Spiked Fist, I think it's best to use it with side rams, so you can do your side smashes. Unless you have a bigger vehicle, then you can have it at the front ram and take advantage of really hitting somebody. Again, you may not be getting audience votes, but you can also go with War Rig and just ram and run people over. And then you can launch the opponents into your oncoming vehicles to get rammed off of them with Pile Driver. So there's options. Then you have Live Fast. And Live Fast is, again, part of that paradox with Spiked Fist, because Slime gets their audience votes by having more hazards than hull points. So a buggy, a bike with nitrous, or a dragster, because they can, like I said, do dragster as well too. The moment they fire off that nitrous, that's an audience vote. So then you can run and spam a whole bunch of bikes with nitrous or something and stack up a bunch of audience votes early in the game. Or you can take a bigger vehicle and eventually if your vehicle's still on the table, in game you might be getting your audience votes when you actually really need them. So again, it just depends. Do you want your audience votes early, or do you want to generate your audience votes when everything is holding on by duct tape and prayer? So that's just something to think about. Again, like I said, it's a paradox where they want to smash, but their best vehicles are lightweight, low hull things that don't really want to be smashed. They do have some toolkits to mitigate that, but that's kind of the frustrating part about Slime. But then we got the class perks. So I've got tuning and reckless, and yes, I've got the book with me, so I can read it without stuttering the ums and everything. See, I did it again. So if they got Fender Kiss, which is when this vehicle makes a smash attack, this vehicle suffers a penalty of -2 attack dice. The vehicle making a smash attack targeting the vehicle suffers a penalty of -2 attack dice. So it does sound like it kind of sucks a bit, because you're taking away your damage potential, especially like if you want to pinball and hit an enemy and really hit that enemy real hard. Unfortunately, from what I understand, you can't elect not to use your perk. So basically, if this lightweight buggy hits and they want to smash it because they're a bigger, let's say this is a heavy truck, and the weight difference between the two would just absolutely mitigate even in a ram. It would be smashing with a buggy would be tickling it for most situations, especially when it smashes back. So basically, Fender Kiss is allowing you to do the thing you want to do with pinball, and if you're your teammate, you don't want to take your teammate out, so you can smash, and you're not going to run the risk of damaging them. So I would also say, even in vehicles that aren't going to smash, like your bikes, Fender Kiss is great because bikes usually do not survive being smashed by other vehicles. So it gives you a defensive ability, especially when you were going to evade anyway. So then you got rear drive. Rear drive gets misused a lot, and it's kind of hard to explain. Because a lot of times when we play this game, we put the vehicle down, and then we just kind of turn. But when we get our spin results, technically the spin result is supposed to be from the center of the vehicle, so that's how you spin without changing the center of the vehicle. Rear drive, it's a little difficult to show, but like if you've got it here and here, if I spin and I spin around the center of the vehicle, I know, I'm not making contact. But if I spin with the rear of the vehicle, I can make contact. If that's kind of how it makes sense, I hope. Again, it's a 2-can perk, so if you're really good at figuring out angles, I would say take it. But it's not going to kill you to not have it. Delicate touch is this vehicle ignores hazard icons on movement templates. Again, you want some hazards. You want to generate hazards. You just don't want to wipe out. So being able to ignore a hazard token on a movement template, it can be situationally useful, but I don't think it's imperative because you might want to take that hazardous movement to get the hazard token that takes you over your whole limit, so you generate your audience vote. So then you got momentum, which I think is better in other sponsors that have access to it, but it's still, when you resolve a skid dice, this vehicle can set aside a slide or spin result and then reroll a skid dice, and it can be used multiple times. So the skid dice that are set aside must be resolved. So essentially, if you roll this vehicle and you've got a slide, a hazard, and a shift, and you don't want that hazard, but you do want your slide anyway, because maybe you want to slide for some reason, for something, or to set off pinball, or get to a better firing solution. You keep your slide, and then you'll re-roll the hazard token. Maybe you get a shift, maybe you get a spin. It's a pretty good perk, but again, it's at 3 cans, then you're getting kind of pricey, and so it's not super important. Then you got purring, which is this vehicle does not gain more than 1 hazard from spin results each activation. It doesn't gain more than 1 hazard token from slide results each activation, and it doesn't gain more than 1 hazard token from hazard results each activation. At 6 cans, it's expensive, but it can save you bacon, because there is times where you will roll all your dice and there will be all hazards, or all slides, or all spins, and you may push it and pick them up and roll and still have just as terrible a result. It is so much of a relief to only take 1 hazard when you should be taking 4. So I hope that's where purring really can save you. If you're someone who is chronically unlucky, purring's probably not a bad perk to take. Skiing is if this vehicle has handling 3 or higher. This vehicle may take 3 hazard tokens at the end of its movement step to be ignored by other vehicles during their movement steps until the start of this vehicle's activation. If by ignoring the vehicles in this way, the vehicle's final position would overlap it, move the vehicle backward along the movement template by the minimum amount to avoid overlapping any obstruction. So the fancy thing about that is basically if you've got handling 3 or higher, you take 3 hazard tokens, and you can go anywhere you want to. in a way, it can be really, really good. Again, if you want to do something that gets your hazard tokens over your hull points, it's great. And it's also great if there is, for some reason, if this is the finish line. Let's see if this line here is the finish line. Your opponent's here, and there's no way your template movements can go at you, but a long straight could go through. You can see where the advantage would come through. So skiing, again, it's a 6-can perk, so you might have advantage to take that. Excuse the hiccup. Then you got the reckless perks. You got Drive Angry, which is at the start of the vehicle's activation. This vehicle gains 1 hazard token. I don't recommend it. It's 1 can. Again, you do want more hazard tokens than your hull points, but that'll end up wiping you out really quickly. As someone who loves to play Rusties, it's leave it to Rusties. Let them use it because they got better hazard management than you do. So yeah, don't mess with that perk in my opinion. Hog Wild, though, during a collision resolved during a wipeout step, this vehicle gains 2 smash attack dice. That's during a wipeout step. So theoretically, if you cause somebody to wipe out through steel nets or ramming or whatever, and they wipe out into one of your vehicles, you get the smash. If you're the one wiping out, you get the 2 smash attack dice as well. Just remember that it's during a wipeout step with this vehicle. So it's that vehicle wiping out or something wiping out hitting it. In for a penny. Again, this is one of those, if you're a really sad, unlucky person, having it kind of makes you feel a little bit better. Because this vehicle gains 6 or more hazard tokens during any this activation. It may double the attack dice of any smash attack it makes for the remainder of the activation. So if you do wipe out, and you do flip, and you do have that situation, and 6 hazard tokens means you're wiping out, you can basically go, screw it. And doubling the attacks dice. If you've ever been hit with this, with somebody with a ram, plus an exploding ram, on a heavyweight vehicle, you understand right fast like why that is basically a nuclear bomb going off. But I mean, you're hitting yourself, so again, it's slime. You're like I said, you're the orky player. You might take yourself out, but you're gonna put a crater somewhere. Don't Come a Knocking is a really good perk. It's 4 cans. But at the start of the vehicle's activation, you gain 4 hazard tokens. And if it does, this vehicle cannot gain or lose any hazard tokens by any means until the start of its next activation. So basically, again, like if you have a bike and you've already lost 1 hull point, you're at 3 hull, you can take Don't Come a Knocking and be immune to wiping out for a while. Pricey, situational, but valid again if you're especially right near the end of the game and you don't want to wipe out and get left behind. It's good. Bigger than you is again part of playing into that paradox of slime, because if this vehicle is involved in a collision, double any smash attack bonuses or penalties resulting from weight differences during that collision. So don't take this with buggies, but do take it with war rigs, monster trucks, and heavy trucks. And yes, it does combine with In for a Penny, so you can do it basically a ×4 multiplier on your smash. Be a very niche, very, very limited opportunity for that to happen. But it's rewarding as heck when it does happen. So again, Bigger than you is basically take, if you've got a war rig, you've got a heavy truck, you've got a monster truck, take it because you're going to have fun with it. It's also a little bit more reliable than in for a penny, and only 2 more cans, so I say go for it. And then you've got Berserker, and that's the perk we'll be ending off of. When this vehicle would suffer damage outside of its activation, reduce that damage by 1 to a minimum of 1. So that's basically, as long as it's not you doing the damage to yourself through something you did, you're basically getting a 1 damage cushion. Somebody shoots you for 3 damage, it's 2 damage. Somebody rams you for 3 damage, it's 2 damage. I don't believe it takes 1 to 0. But Berserker at 5 cans, it is really good. Once you realize throughout a game how many hull points it actually saves you, you'll want to find a way to squeeze it in there. So yeah, that's our build for our work through slime. These are the vehicles we're going to build, and then when I get them armored and armed and everything, we'll talk about why I chose what weapons and the builds themselves. So with that, I hope I haven't bored you too much. If you really do enjoy this, again, always like, share, subscribe. I do want to get that algorithm thingy and whiz bangs and shindigs and whatever. Yeah, I'm almost at 400 subscribers, so that would be really cool to get 400 subscribers. And I would like to be able to do this more often. So that would, I think it really does help. And so that's that. Again, I have an Etsy store that has completed vehicles for sale, and that's King of Cats Crafts. And your support, just coming here and watching these videos, comments and stuff, I really do appreciate them. So with that, have a great March, and yeah, take care, be safe, and goodbye.